Good morning to all our distinguished participants, depending on where they are. Maybe a couple of words first on the chamber. Basically, EUROCHAM is the European Chamber of Commerce in Malaysia. As such, we work with European companies that are already located in Malaysia, with local companies that have an interest in Europe, and also European companies that are looking to invest or do business with Malaysia. We have quite a unique structure in the sense that we call ourselves the Chamber of Chambers, because basically we have a board which is composed by representatives of the different European chambers in Malaysia. And this is one of the main strengths of EUROCHAM, because collectively our business community is made of over 1,600 members. So we have the opportunity to really engage a relevant community. Very recently, we did a rebranding exercise. We were known before as UMCCI, whereas now we are known as EUROCHAM. We have also a new website, eurocham.my, so all the participants that are willing to know more, please visit our website. So with regards to the topic, I am no expert, and I see we really have some very good experts in the industry, so I won't pretend to be one, but what I'll share is my privileged perspective over investors and their needs, at least the European ones. And most investors that look at Malaysia, they do it in the context of the ASEAN region. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, and also I think there's nothing wrong with it, because actually Malaysia has naturally certain characteristics, like its location at the center of the ASEAN region, that makes it a perfect hub or gateway to do business in the region. And obviously, because now when those investors look at the numbers, Malaysia with 33 million as compared to 640 plus doesn't build a strong case. But those factors, other than the central location that Malaysian government over the years and Malaysian GLCs and all the business players have been able to build over the years, which is a system that is not only supported by progressive commercial law, the diversity of the culture of the people, the capacity to speak English, the stability over the decades. What has really made the major selling point for the organization, for all the promoters, like Maida Matre, with whom we work very well, many different projects, is connectivity, connectivity, connectivity. Connectivity was key, and Malaysia has done a great job in developing the great logistic network that Captain Subramanian has presented before. The COVID pandemics creates the need, I would say the imperative, to continue to develop and make connectivity as one of the top priority for Malaysia in moving forward. With this particular regard, in the immediate future, maybe air transportation will struggle, but that means that particular emphasis has to be placed on alternative means of transport. And we shared several sessions with Maida in the last few weeks, and they've done a great job, not only to help the local businesses here operate despite all the challenges of the MCO. They also devised a very attractive incentive scheme to attract companies and invest in Malaysia. But without state-of-the-art logistic infrastructures, foreign investors will struggle to make a case to continue to look at Malaysia as a preferred destination, as their ASEAN getaway. So this is my overall comment on the state and importance of the logistics sector into what is the national proposition to business and international investors, I prepared a few comments on a couple of points that were requested. The first one is what can we do to reboot the economy in this difficult time? At EUROCHAM, we have a proposal. The proposal is the proposal to restart the dialogue for the free trade agreement between Europe and Malaysia. Unfortunately, the approach of a general FTA between ASEAN and Europe is not doable. For those that are not aware, there are too many disparities in the ASEAN systems to allow this kind of treaty, but what Europe is willing to do is to engage every single country to discuss and define an agreement. Singapore has been the first one. The agreement has been in force already for quite some time. Vietnam has just terminated its round of final round of dialogue. The FTA is ready to be implemented, should be pending just the final ratification of the Vietnamese Assembly. And FTA conversations were already started in 2010. And unfortunately, they were halted in 2012 at the request of Malaysia. So we know it's not an easy project to bring forward, but we believe that at this time we don't have so many alternatives and opportunities to look at a project that is able to spur growth at basically zero or close to zero economic cost. So we have been already making this case with a few ministers in several different platforms, and we hope that as soon as this political instability clears and a longer vision is possible, also due to these pandemics being put under control, we hope that the political willingness to restart this conversation will be there again. With regards to the trends that I see might be affecting the logistics system at this stage, I would like to mention again e-commerce. Most people might think this is nothing new. I totally agree. E-commerce has been around for 20 years now. We know that we're going through a radical change in our behaviors, in the way we consume goods and services, but it's very too early to have really reliable numbers. But what it seems is that this COVID crisis has accelerated the digital transformation of possibly up to 3 to 5 years in terms of adoption and pervasiveness of the different technologies and the willingness of business people and consumers to use the digital channel instead of the physical one. What we also have seen, and these second and third and fortunately not other ways as shown in the last few days, is that the traditional international supply chain are more fragile than we thought. This is something that I guess should be taken into consideration by the industry players. There might be opportunities to offer new value or value in different ways. I heard of companies that in May, after acquiring personal protective equipment in China to bring it to Europe in the middle of the crisis, they were hoping to get their goods in a couple of days via air freight. Actually, it took them, in some cases, even more than 3 weeks. And those goods were sent around several airports around the world in order to find room and capacity to send them to destination. So we're facing critical times. I was not surprised and pleased when Captain Subramanian shared that obviously ports were considered an essential service able to operate under MCO, what is needed in the perspective of European business operators, investors, looking at Malaysia, is to continue to keep the logistics system at the center of the value proposition that the country can offer to its investors and regional players. And as EUROCHAM, we're very happy to support, to commit to initiatives that go in these directions together with our community.